I'd been addicted to drugs or alcohol for about 30 years.
It went from dabbling in recreational use of alcohol and drugs.
I had been going down that road since a child.
My addiction to drugs and alcohol.
Prescription pills.
I realized at that point, definitely things had gone way too far.
I was headed for a bad area there, you know.
To our rescue when we were in deepest need. You offered redemption.
I was taking, the wrong path in life. I had been going down that road since a child.
I'd been addicted to drugs or alcohol for about 30 years, off and on.
I had went from dabbling in recreational use of alcohol and drugs.
And just stay in my room and drink and take pills.
Me continually relapsing and just getting in trouble with the law.
And you lose your ambition and you just do stupid things.
I was there for a small portion at a time, but I wasn't really there.
I was pretty involved in the lifestyle that I was living, as far as the gangs and the drugs and the money.
I'd argue with my grandparents. I would say hateful things. I would threaten them sometimes.
It kind of all came to an end in March of last year, where I was arrested with my boyfriend who didn't get arrested.
I mean, I knew I kept messing up, but I really didn't get a wake-up call until I was finally in jail.
My family didn't want me around much more. My wife, which wasn't my wife at the time, was getting very tired of me.
Eventually I found out because I found the pills. So then I just started throwing them in the trash can.
At this point I was drinking pretty good, drinking quite a bit. I remember one day she wanted to pack up all the Chinaware.
I'd already lost my family, I'd lost my job, I'd had all hope gone.
I've never been to prison. I mean, I've been to jail maybe a good 8 or 9 times. I didn't want to go to prison.
I didn't know the court system. I didn't know much of anything. I was just that I was looking at a long prison term.
My daughter was in CPS, and I was in danger of never seeing her ever again.
Thought I could do it on my own. Didn't come to that point yet of full surrender. I need people. I totally need God. Can't do this without Him.
And me and her would fight, obviously, a lot because, I wasn't spending any time with her, and I was hurting myself. I was headed for a bad area there,
One day I landed at the doorstep of the Fresno Rescue Mission.
I had no idea that the Rescue Mission even existed.
I ended up going to the Rescue Mission.
The first I heard of Fresno Rescue Mission was from my attorney.
I got involved with Samaritan Women because of my drug and alcohol addiction.
I grew up in the church, but I kind of obviously walked away.
Probably my stubbornness. I'll say strong-willed.
I again realized, meeting the wrong people, that I fully needed life change.
I got a letter back saying I was accepted to the Fresno Rescue Mission.
And I pretty much went crazy. I was like, wow, 18 months, that's a long time.
But the court system had released me, but the jail had me still on a hold.
And I was there for a couple months, and I got kicked out.
So Jake left and tried to get me out, and they wouldn't let me out.
I happened to be actually at a Celebrate Recovery, and there I ran into 4 different people from Samaritan Women that week.
Well, luckily, Reverend Arcee and Bud Searcy had told Jake to make sure you get this gentleman out of the jail.
And while I was in jail again, I remember, earnestly asking God to intervene.
December 27th, Jake picked me up.
Sure enough, a month later, I ended up back at the rescue mission.
So it was like God was kind of reminding me of like, you met these ladies and they loved you and they prayed with you and they were there and they supported you.
It was then that I realized that God actually existed, you know.
The day I got here, I decided that I was going to stay here the entire time. The classes, the drug and alcohol classes with Jake and Bud Searcy and Ted Morgan, all those classes, they all help.
2 classes about healing, understanding addiction, personal awareness.
Anger management, they had a parenting class.
I remember Bud teaching TLC.
And it was really good for me to become more aware of the nature of addiction. That was something I didn't really know or understand.
How to obtain a job, you know, how to dress up and just find that drive to go back out and work again.
It was getting kind of discouraging because I couldn't even land a job at Foster Farms.
I began working on how to transform my business into something that would serve God more directly, and ended up interviewing a couple people and hiring Armando out of that process.
Mark's a really good guy. I mean, he's really helped me a lot in so many ways, not just with employment. I mean, he's really been there for me, and I'm blessed to have a boss like him.
The important thing for the folks that I've been exposed to is for them to have hope and kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel and have a vision for what their life could be like someday.
So I would say the key was, for me, was humility and just submitting to my higher authority.
My dad's friends used to say that he was doing really good and that he was really changing, and I could see the difference.
It was new to me. I couldn't really believe it because where I come from, everybody's out for their own, you know.
And you know, to be with a group of women who kind of were all in the same boat was really helpful to know that I'm not alone.
I've learned to have relationships, and I think that's where I messed up the first time. I just isolated myself from others.
She really had an integral part of me going through the mission, staying humble and making sure that I did what I had to do to get right with God so I could get right with her.
Well, I would pray at night, and and I knew that God was always there for us.
And so now our relationship as a whole matters more than just what I want to do.
Because he was in the program learning about Jesus and how God works in your life, I also learned a lot.
This next year will be 20 years that we've been married, and I look back and when he came home and I think, wow, this must be what all these people are talking about.
Me and my wife, we've been pretty much on the same page lately. She really wrote it out. It just seems like God continues to bless me more and more and more as I just continue to follow his word and, you know, try to stay on the right track.
If there was no Samaritan Women program, I know I would either be in prison or I'd be really heavy into my addiction.
There was a few women that definitely spoke into my life during that time that I still have in my life today that I would say have helped me so much and immensely in sharing their life with me.
We're where we're at now because of God and because of the mission, and I couldn't be more thankful.
I never knew the power of God, what he can do for you. Once you step in the doors over here, God lives in that building.
There's no